Welcome to This Week in the World of Wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and guys, this is our Monday Night Raw review, and this Raw was...
John, you're massively overrating this Raw by giving it.
Yes. Here's the thing, guys. I didn't load this Raw, and I'm not even going to begin to speak for my cohort and commentary here. I can't wait to unleash him here in a few seconds. This Raw, to me, was like straddling the border between average and below average. I thought there was some really great stuff on this Raw, but that was sprinkled so thinly throughout 3 hours. And by the way, for me, this is where you really feel that 3 hours drags. But man, most of this stuff, I know that they were trying to push forward to SummerSlam, which by the way, this was the go home Raw, which I think makes it even worse. But just so much of this, and there was one atrocious segment that just left a bad taste in both of our mouths. But hey, enough from me. I want to give the ball to this guy, Ashton. How would you, in the most positive way possible, describe how this Raw felt to you tonight?
Have you ever seen the movie Deuce Bigalow, Male Gigolo?
No, I have not. I've heard of it.
Okay, well, just to put a little perspective into it, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm assuming most of our audience has seen it. John here just happens to be sheltered. It's a story about Rob Schneider, who ends up getting roped into the male gigolo business, also known as the man pimp business, or the man whore business, depending on how you call it. And he goes on this ridiculous line of dates with these really terrible, like one woman's super tall, one woman is narcoleptic, one woman is huge. And next thing you know, his, I guess you could call it his man pimp, the guy who's kind of giving him all this work with these women, says, and I quote, "This next date is what we man pimps call a doozy." And Deuce Bigalow says, "What's wrong with this one?" And the answer is nothing. And it's because it's a legitimately hot chick who just got out of college. This Raw is that scenario flipped upside down.
Quite a colorful way to describe this Raw experience for you, but I'll take it.
This Raw is the exact opposite of that. We've had a long chain of good, decent, and even I would say great Raws a few weeks ago. And now everything just went straight downhill into a nosedive. This Raw... Dude, I was in such a miserable mood for this Raw that I had to take like a half hour just sitting by myself with my thoughts to kind of just get the oomph to record this TWitWoW with you.
Yeah, I know it. I know this Raw really soured you, and I can't blame you. I mean,
dude, this Raw was like borderline life-changing. This is the kind of Raw that made me really think about if I really want to be a wrestling fan at all. It was that bad.
Yeah, I'm trying to find... Well, I don't need to read you word for word, because you pretty much told me in conversation that you felt like this was the worst Raw since the Strand episode. Now, to clarify, he didn't say that he felt like this Raw was worse than that episode, though I don't know your final analysis now.
No, it was worse. It was worse. It was worse in some aspects, but it wasn't as bad in others. So I'm not going to go saying it's worse when it was just as bad, but in different ways, but also a little bit better in different ways. Like it's hard to kind of distinguish those two. So I'm not going to go as far as to say it was worse.
Right. Well, there you go. And guys, with that said, I mean, you can only imagine what our next segment is going to be like. Heat of the night, and I'm guessing one of us is packing an inferno here. I'll go first. Now, after discussion with Ashton, I've decided to reduce my list to one Heat of the night.
No, you didn't. Let's specify here, John. You didn't reduce your list to one. We just agree on one, so you decided to let me take the heat for that.
Right. So I'm going to let you go with that, because you have a lot more to say about that than I probably would have.
Right.
My Heat of the night, I noticed a lack of, I don't know if I could use both the terms creativity and ingenuity in this Raw, in the sense that, to set the scene, remember guys, last week we had Seth Rollins be distracted by Dean Ambrose, and that distraction, Heath Slater was able to roll Seth Rollins up and get the victory. So we had a distraction-based, victory for Heath Slater here. We got two distraction-based match results from this Raw tonight, and I don't really care for the repetitiveness. The first one was Paige, AJ, when she was facing Eva Marie, Paige came out and distracted AJ. I was tempted to make that a Heat of the Night, but I didn't know how I was going to word it because it involves divas, and you know our TWitWoW policy, we don't do divas Heats of the Night because we figured that it would be every week that it would be a thing. But then I felt even more confident in it when we had it again with The Miz standing atop the announce table, talking, yammering on, and Ziggler was facing Heath Slater. Miz tries to distract Ziggler on the apron. They go at it, and Ziggler's pretty much beating Miz pillar to post, but he ends up getting counted out. I know you want to promote feuds, and I know you want to further programs, but, this is the best way you could figure for 2 feuds on the same show? Really? You couldn't have... Because I will say this, too, and we'll talk about this later. I loved how they promoted Jericho Wyatt tonight. I was personally a big fan of that.
I like that they actually put some effort into not making it like everything else. They made it a little bit more on the unique side.
Exactly, because it was Bray and Jericho face to face, and they were pretty much talking to each other. They weren't even moderated. And I can't really say I would be hypocritical if I would say that I wish something similar would have happened with Paige AJ, because that too would have been repetitious because we just got it with Bray Jericho. But I was really looking, especially for the Paige AJ feud. I think that's where I'm actually angrier, believe it or not, for them to really kick it up a notch, to maybe not necessarily get more personal, but I don't know, to put more life into this, because I think they're going to have a tremendous bout at SummerSlam. But really, and I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this, in my personal opinion, this feels like any other Divas Championship bout. There really hasn't been anything that makes me go besides the competitors and knowing what they're capable of, there hasn't been anything else that makes me go, wow, these guys are going to set the world on fire at SummerSlam. And you and I were so excited going into the show because there were 2 female programs, one of them quite major if you figure the time slots it's been given, in Brie and Stephanie, and now this, and I've just been so underwhelmed. And the Intercontinental Championship.
I'm sorry, John, did you say 2 female segments? Because I count 3, 2 of which were given to Stephanie and Brie by themselves.
No, I meant 2 female programs at SummerSlam, Brie, Stephanie, AJ, Paige.
Oh, okay.
And I guess Naomi Cameron, but we haven't heard from either one of them in it feels like a while anyway.
Right. Yeah.
But and then the Intercontinental Championship picture, I was just getting ready to say that's been pretty much that scene for quite some time. But it's Dolph Ziggler, who, as you said, Ashton, to me, he's such an over babyface at this level. He should be in the main event with the reactions he's getting, but he's not. And while this is probably the most I have ever enjoyed the Miz's work, in his entire career, save for his tag team with Morrison, but of course that was more Morrison than Miz. These guys really haven't stepped it up either, I don't think. It seems just like the same old stuff every week. So yeah, WWE's creativity as far as promoting feuds is really lacking tonight as far as the undercard department was concerned.
I agree with you to a degree. I kind of have a little bit more to add on to that in one of my Heats of the Night, so I'll just actually start with that. My first Heat of the Night, and it wasn't actually my first one that I came up with, it was just the most relevant one, so I'll talk about it first. Right. And actually, it wasn't even a Heat of the Night, it was with nitpicks, so I will just tack this onto your Heat of the Night. The emphasis that they're putting on certain pay-per-view builds kind of blows my mind, because you would think, now, let me ask you, as a little bit more of a hardcore wrestling fan, somebody that's really, really in the bubble like I am, what 2 matches are you looking most forward to on this show?
Definitely Cena Lesnar and Ambrose Rollins. Okay.
After watching tonight, the 3 matches that the WWE built as the most important were Cena Lesnar, so they nailed that, which is great, and they did a really good job with it too, for the most part. Brie versus Stephanie, and Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
It's not enough of a problem to make it a Heat of the Night of my own, so I'm just going to kind of tack it onto yours. But I do have a problem with that because, and actually, you know what? I've never done this before. My mom is a little bit more of a casual fan. She's right here. I'm going to ask her, what 2 matches are you looking most forward to at SummerSlam? Reigns and Orton was one of them. And the Ambrose Rollins match. Okay. So she's looking more forward to Reigns Orton than she is looking forward to Cena versus Lesnar, which I understand because she really hates Lesnar and she's not really that hip on Cena either, so she obviously just doesn't care that much. But the common denominator here is Ambrose Rollins. Everybody, from casuals to hardcore fans, is looking forward to Ambrose Rollins. But if you blinked an eye tonight, you wouldn't have even seen that they built to it.
That was really disappointing. That's another one that honestly I really should have mentioned when I said like lack of creativity, because I mean, there's been a lot of controversy, and you know what? The funny thing was, actually, this Raw just left us so bland. Like, we didn't even touch on anything like we said we were going to start to do about this SmackDown. Well, just to, I guess, kind of bring it full circle, Ambrose did talk about why he picked the Lumberjack match, and it was a good promo, but I still felt like the justification wasn't strong enough. If anything, I felt like Dean Ambrose was meant to be put out there for damage control, and inadvertently did more damage, at least in my eyes, because he said, well, you know, we stacked all those bodies one on top of the other, so they're not going to like you, but they're not really going to like Dean either, and maybe he's okay with that, because he wants to just settle in the ring mano-a-mano anyway. But, so there's been a lot of controversy over that, and then you go to this Raw tonight where Dean Ambrose, I mean, we're going to talk about it anyway, I guess we're just talking about it here, explodes out of a package and starts assaulting Seth Rollins. Well, that was great and all, but it barely lasted like a minute or 2 minutes because Rollins hightailed it, which I get it because that's building up to you won't be able to do that Sunday, but that's all we got. Like, we didn't get a promo afterwards from Rollins. We didn't get any more follow-ups.
Neither one of them were in a match tonight.
Neither one of them were in a match tonight.
No, Rollins was in a match against RVD, but it was.
Well, yeah, that's what caused the whole thing to begin with.
It was so forgettable, I literally forgot about it.
Yeah, there you go. It's just really a shame, actually, that this match, which some people have gone as far as to say, like you were talking about interest, I've even read some people going as far with their anticipation for this match, saying that if they get 15 to 20 minutes, that they'll have a match of the year contender. And I believe that they could. I know a report was leaked about how much time each match was supposed to get. I can't remember how much time Ambrose and Rollins
15.
was slated for. I thought I remember reading 12, and Orton and Reigns got 15. And we said,
oh no, I thought that AJ Page was the one that got 12.
You know what? You may be right. I'm gonna look that up a little bit later because I'd like to confirm, but I don't think it's gonna get as much time as we would have liked. And I was really thinking that this is gonna be one of the hotter feuds heading into SummerSlam. It amazes me how lukewarm it's looking right now.
Yeah, normally for SummerSlam and WrestleMania, the WWE tries to build up 3 big matches. And while they have done that here, the problem is that one of those 3 matches is Brie Bella versus Stephanie McMahon, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a match that a lot of people have wanted to see just because people want to see Stephanie get beat up. But that's not the kind of match that you use as like a highlight to your show. It's not, like, it doesn't really qualify as one of those big 3 main event style matches. And it's like they're using that as an excuse for a main event match so that they don't have to put as much emphasis on Ambrose Rollins.
Yeah, I agree with you. And just real quick to reset the scene, Ashton, you were correct. Ambrose and Rollins is slated, according to this report, and I don't know if because it's been leaked out if WWE is making alterations, but at this time, they were only slated to get 15 minutes. Page and AJ 12, Rusev Swagger 12, Wyatt Jericho 15, Dolph Ziggler Miz 10. Roman Reigns and Orton is getting 20. Brie Bella and Stephanie is getting 15, and Brock Lesnar Cena, which makes sense, is getting 25.
Right.
So...
And none of them are actually going to last that long. That's just how long the segments are, which is going to include entrances. So
yeah, it really boggles my mind what's getting priority and what isn't. Yep. I was really scared when Brie and Stephanie were getting the kind of attention that they were. I'm like, okay, I think it's cool in one way, but I hope they don't do anything stupid in these kinds of time slots to really jeopardize it, because I think this could really do good things. And then tonight happened. I really don't even have much to say about it, so I'll let you continue rolling the ball.
Did tonight happen, John? Did it really? Was this real?
I believe it was. As much as you and I would like to believe otherwise, yeah, this Raw happened.